Yo, what's going on, people? This is Kutt. I'm rocking with SoundCase right now, and we're here to tell you, the inside behind the music on Hit My Line.
So, can you walk us through your journey and tell us how you got your start in the industry, and what were some of the credits and moments that shaped your career?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started off back in the day, being a freestyle rapper when I was younger in New York. And I moved down to Florida in like the late 90s, around 98. And I met a lot of people that I used to freestyle with and rap with. And we had a lot of fun. And we thought we were, the hottest thing, obviously, in the 17, 18 years of age. And so we wanted to take it to the next level. And during that time, or at least in those years, it wasn't easy to get, into a big studio because everything was still kind of tape in that, world. And so I started off on a cassette tape-based 4-track recorder. And we started there, and then that led to an 8-track digital recorder. And then that led to my first software, which I purchased with my first Mac G4, which was Cubase VST. And then from that point on, it just kept getting, as technology advanced, we kept going further and further. I never went to school, so I was self-taught, which trial and error was a long time, but, I guess during that, people would find out, just through word of mouth and stuff, hey, my buddy can record you. And then I started taking on clients and whatnot. And then that led to me meeting, which I met this person even way before that, which is my buddy, Johnny Mars. And we used to go into these bigger studios like Audio Vision, Circle House, Hit Factory. And Johnny put me onto industry artists way back in the day. We're talking a couple decades ago. At that point, I started getting work, engineering for and mixing for, recording, whatever the case may be, for artists like, Derulo when he was down here, Jason Derulo, DMX. I worked with Spliff Star from Flip Mode. Just a lot of artists. I worked with artists on Terror Squad's roster and what have you. And from that point, everything just kept, getting bigger and bigger and bigger over time.
When you're at the studio and you meet younger engineers and producers, what's one common mistake you see them make? And is this a confidence issue, a technical problem, or even a mindset?
The thing you just said is actually very apparent in the music industry. It happens a lot where, whether they went to school or didn't go to school. I'm going to first touch on the concept of students that are coming out of school, is that, the one, I guess, piece of advice that I would give them is that instead of looking at things in such a mathematical value, like, for example, like a compressor needs to be at this ratio or this threshold or this gain reduction, I come across that a lot with especially kids that are coming out of school. And I think my mindset, especially being the fact that I did not go to school, I still want to remind them that that's great that you understand the specifics and the mathematical values of how, let's say, a compressor or an EQ works. However, I think it kind of takes away the ability for them to pay attention to their ears and utilize that as the secret weapon, more so than just being static about keeping things at a certain ratio value or a threshold value on a compressor, or boosting or cutting this much. Music is very subjective, and even the guidelines are just guidelines. They're not, to me, like a static thing that's you have to go by every single time. It's every blank screen on a session. It's like painting a canvas. It starts blank and then you wind up with a piece of art afterwards. So therefore, I think my biggest, advice to, people starting out is, learn the fundamentals. Yes, absolutely. We're in a technological world where, you could be on YouTube and watching tutorials, and you can learn and you can pick up tricks and be open to that. But at the same time, don't be static. Every song is different. Every vocalist is different. Think outside the box and use your ears and trust your ears to take you where you need to be.